Hey everyone, and welcome back to STEM Girl Budgeting. If you're new here, I'm a 26-year-old woman living in a high cost of living city with my husband, and today I'm going to be breaking down what we made, spent, and invested in the month of October, as well as updating you guys on our net worth and our CoastFI goals. So to begin, I'm just going to be giving you guys a very high-level overview of our gross income, taxes, and expenses for the month. So to start off with, we have my income, and I brought in $5,206.90. So this is split between two different sources. So we first have my PhD stipend. I am a third-year PhD student in a STEM field, and I get paid approximately $4,000 a month gross for my living expenses. And then I'm also a teaching assistant right now, and they're paying me an additional $300 a week for the work that I'm doing. So then that's an additional $1,200. And then for my husband, he brought in $11,750. He is a software engineer, works as an independent contractor, and just has one contract right now that pays him a base rate of $11,250 every month. He got an extra $500 bonus for some extra work that he did that was kind of unrelated to his contract. So yeah, that was his total income for the month. And then we also made $168.48 from just bank interest. So this is money that is sitting in our high yield savings account that's just earning interest. And so that got paid out. And then we also made $51.09 from credit card cash back. So that was nice as well. And so our total income for the entire month was $17,176.47, which is crazy. This is one of our highest income months ever. It might be the highest, or maybe last month was the highest, I can't remember, but yeah, we don't usually make this much money, but between my husband's small bonus and then also the teaching assistant position that I took on, we're just making a lot of money right now. Okay, and then for taxes, we either paid or saved this money for estimated tax payments, but it's $3,514.20, so it's about 20% of our gross income. And then for expenses, we spent $5,628.40, and our investments for the month were $7,491. And so total money out for both spending and investments was $13,119.40, which means down here we have a net income of $542.87. And this is money that just carries over to the next month in the budgeting software that we use. So that's a high-level overview of everything. Now I'm going to go to the budgeting software that we use to further break down what we spent our money on this month. So you can look at things in two different ways in this view in YNAB. So this is our spending breakdown. You can view it by categories. So these are all the different categories that we have in the budgeting software. So we have a category for our joint brokerage, for my husband's 401k, it's a solo 401k, and then also our rent, and you can see that those were our three highest expenses for the month. You can also view it in groups, and so this is actually how I'm going to take you guys through and show you what we spent this month. So starting with investments, so we invested in three different accounts. Our joint brokerage for $3,650, we put $3,125 into my husband's solo 401k, and then we put $716 into my husband's HSA. This was actually an accident. I accidentally put twice as much as I meant to, so I made both October and November's contribution in October. And so if you watched my last budget with me, I didn't put anything towards the HSA in November, and then I'll finish maxing it out in December. Okay, and next, well, actually, I just like to filter out investments as we go through the rest of our spending. So this is everything else that we spent money on. So 42% of our expenses are just housing. So most of that is rent, $2,175. We paid $56.80 for electric, and then $55 for internet, $43 for just household toiletries, that kind of thing, and then $11.86 for natural gas. You can also see those broken down here. I like that you can kind of look at things in both ways. Okay, and now going back, our next highest category besides housing was food. And so we actually spent a lot more on food than we usually do. I honestly don't really remember why. I think we had some people come and visit us, so maybe that contributed to this. But anyway, we don't usually spend this much in dining out specifically, but we spent $487 on dining out, and then we spent $379 on groceries. This is a pretty normal amount for groceries for us, but this is about $100 higher than we usually would. Okay, next we have my spending. So I actually spent a lot of money this month because I went on a girls' trip with my friends. So I spent $471 in one weekend. This does not include my transportation to like the city that we went to, nor does it include the hotel. I'd already paid for those things in previous months. This is just like food, drinks, and entertainment for 48 hours. So obviously it was an expensive city that we went to, but we had so much fun. We ate at really, really great restaurants, and I really liked the activities that we did as well. It was a really fun trip, and we had been talking about doing this for like a year and a half. These are some girls that I'm friends with in grad school. So we're all like working in different labs, but we're in like the same cohort and we still see each other and hang out quite regularly. But this was just really nice to just kind of get away with them and like be able to catch up on this weekend trip. So it was really fun. No regrets. It was a little bit expensive, but. And then for clothing, I did spend $141, and then guilt-free, $74. I don't even remember what this was on. Oh, yeah. I went to a corn maze, I got ice cream, and then I bought tiki torches because we dressed up. Me and my friends dressed up as Survivor contestants for Halloween. So I went to a Halloween party that was just a lot of people from my grad program. And so me and my friends were just like, oh, we're like really obsessed with like Survivor right now. I've been watching it since I was a kid, and then I got my friends really into it as well. And so we got like the buffs, like the bandana type things that they wear. And then I bought some like tiki torches so that we could look like we were going to tribal council. Anyway, it was really fun. Okay, so that's it for my spending. So over $700, which is kind of crazy, but most of that was from the trip. And then the next highest spend was just my husband's health insurance. We pay this every single month. It's expensive because he's self-employed. And then next, our highest category was joint spending, and this was just one thing that we did. So we did actually go on a date, and we've kind of been struggling a bit to actually like plan and go do things, but there was a musical that we both wanted to see that was coming to the city that we live in, and we just decided to splurge and get like pretty good seats for it. And so we spent $384 on that, and it was worth it, and it was super fun. Okay, and then next we have transportation. So for transportation, we spent $144 in gas. We spent so much money on tickets. We got 2 different tickets. That's why it's so expensive, but these are just parking tickets. We live in a city. It's hard to find parking, and we also don't pay for a designated parking spot, and so we have to move our car like all the time because if we park too late, we can't find like good street parking. So then we have to park in like a metered spot, and then sometimes we forget to move the car, or sometimes we like don't realize it's a tow zone. Anyway, so we've gotten our car towed and like many times, and we've also gotten parking tickets many times. But that being said, it is still so much cheaper to just pay for these parking tickets periodically than to pay for a designated parking spot. So it would be like $300 a month if we wanted to have a spot near our apartment. Our apartment complex doesn't have parking spots, so it wouldn't even be like that convenient. And so we've just decided like, whatever, we're not paying for parking. And then we did spend $20 on some tolls, I believe, and then about $7 in public transit for the month, and then just $3 in maintenance. I don't know what this was. Oh, just air for our tires. Okay. And then for giving, so we did finally set up some recurring donations. So this is just donating to some local charities that we care about. We just want to start having recurring donations so that we can meet our charitable giving goals for the year. We want to be generous like with our money. We want to support certain causes. So I just started setting up recurring donations to make this happen. And then we did spend $64 on gifts to friends and family, and then $50 in just general charity. I think my husband got I can't remember. Oh yeah, so my husband bought a grocery gift card for a woman and her children who were clearly like struggling. And so yeah, he just bought them a gift card so that they could go and get some groceries. Okay. And then for dues and subs, so our YNAB subscription came out. So it's $115 every year. It's worth every penny. You know, it's funny because I have gotten a lot of my family members to use YNAB like over the years, and they are all using our subscription, but we obviously are not going to ask them to like pay us to use the subscription. It's like not that big of a deal, but it's just so funny because this $115 allows 4 or 5 different households to budget. And so really it is so worth the $115 every single year so that me and my siblings and my mom can like all use this software. It's definitely worth it. And then we did spend $10.98 in streaming services, I can't speak right now, about $10 on iCloud, and then $2 on our Google One subscription. And then lastly, my husband, he spent $20 on the gym and then $28 on guilt-free money. If you've watched my videos before, you know that my husband doesn't really spend very much money. But I think oh yeah, he went to Topgolf with his friends. That's so fun. I forgot he did that. So I'm glad that he's going to, yeah, I've been encouraging him to spend more money recently because I was like, he makes most of our money. So although we're completely combined and aligned on all of our goals, I do feel like bad when I end up spending more money than he does because I'm not making most of the money. He makes like twice as much as me, more than twice as much as me. He makes like 3 times as much as me when I'm just getting paid my regular PhD stipend. So like I want him to be able to enjoy his money too. Okay, so yeah, total spending for the month, $5,628. That seems to be kind of our new normal. I think November is going to be a very high spend month because we're trying to donate more money and then also get gifts for people for like during like Black Friday and stuff. And I don't know if we want to get anything specific for Black Friday. We haven't really talked about it. We don't really need anything right now, so probably not. But yeah, we'll see. It will probably be a higher spend month though in November. Okay, so yeah, that's all of our spending. Now I'm going to jump over to our net worth tracker and update you guys on our net worth as of the end of October. So you can see here, I update this every single month, all of our accounts, all of our liabilities, everything, to kind of see where we stand. So we're in October, and the value of our checking and savings account at the end of October was $56,719.75. My Roth IRA had $32,295.28. My husband's Roth IRA had $23,476.87. His HSA had $4,336.97. My husband's traditional solo 401k had $9,992.22. And then the Roth portion of his solo 401k had $8,714.36. And then we do have a joint brokerage as well, and that had $9,490.04 at the end of the month. So our total assets at the end of October were $145,025.49, which is a lot. Yeah, anyway, that's very exciting. Okay, so now for liabilities, we first have our credit cards. So the balance of our credit cards at the end of October was $3,853.95. We do pay these off in full every single month. but I obviously need to count that against our assets because we have already spent that money. And then we do also subtract our tax savings because we do pay a lot of quarterly estimated taxes, and it would just really skew our net worth on a month-to-month basis if we didn't subtract it out. And so I like to do that because we do owe the government that money. And so that's $3,310 at the end of October, which means our net worth was $137,861.54, which is awesome and kind of crazy. This was a change of about $9,700 from the last month, so we're up 7.6%, 63% year to date. We can add all of these up here and see that our net worth grew over $60,000 from the beginning of the year, which is so, so cool and crazy to see. And then our investment total, so we're very focused on investments right now, so we like to kind of just see like, okay, how much of this money is actually working for us, growing for us, and that's $88,305.74, which is a growth of about 11.7% from last month. So very exciting. As for our goals, so our investment goal for the year was to do $50,000. And so far we have maxed my Roth IRA, so that's done. We've also maxed my husband's Roth IRA. HSA, we're pretty much done. We just need to make one more contribution in December and we'll have maxed this out. So that's $3,939.66. My husband's solo 401k, we're at $17,250. And then for our taxable brokerage, we actually surpassed our goal, so $8,850. So yeah, we have kind of a plan to to contribute to these month to month and then to max them out. And so yeah, any extra money that we get, we're just putting into the taxable brokerage because we're right on track with these. So that means that we have invested $44,039.66 this year. So we are right on track, surpassing, actually, I think we're on track to surpass this $50,000 goal. I think we might be closer to $55,000 this year. I'm not sure yet, so we'll see. But yeah, this is very exciting. I thought this was a very ambitious goal when I set it, but my husband got a raise in August, and so it's been so much easier to reach this goal. On top of that, I'm also working as a teaching assistant, and so I wasn't expecting to make that extra money either. So this has been really, really cool to see. Okay, and now the last thing that I'm going to do is copy this investment total, and then I'm going to go and put it into my spreadsheets to kind of get a sense of what this money could become at retirement. So my current age is 26 years old. My husband and I are the same age. We're both 26. Our government retirement age is 67. Our current investments, I'll just paste those here. And you can see that assuming a 10% rate of return, 3% inflation, our ending balance at retirement would be $1.5 million. Which is crazy. And assuming a 4% withdrawal rate, this would be over $61,000 a year, over $5,000 a month that we could take out, which is so cool and awesome to see. And if we were to continue the amount that we're investing now, which is about on average $5,500 a month, we would have over $17 million at retirement. Which means that we could withdraw $57,000 a month to spend, which is absolutely ridiculous. And this is all in today's dollars, so it's accounting for inflation. Yeah, obviously we don't need that much money. So we're not going to be investing that aggressively our whole lives. And if we do, then we'll just retire early because there's just no need to have $17 million when you retire. But yeah, we definitely feel pretty good about this. Our main goal, though, is to actually hit CoastFI. And so I'm going to paste those current investments in here, and then I'm going to put the 5,500 right here. So we are 26 years old. retirement age is at 67. And assuming that we want to spend $120,000 in retirement, which is a lot more than we spend now. So if you remember from our spending breakdown, we spend usually between $5,500 and $6,000 a month, I think, nowadays. So that's more like $72,000 a year. So yeah, 120 is a lot more, but we just have no idea what our retirement expenses are going to be. But yeah, assuming these things are true, assuming also 10% rate of return, 3% inflation, 4% withdrawal rate. So if we had $176,000 invested right now, we wouldn't need to contribute another dollar to our retirement. And that would be enough to just grow over time, compound over time, and we would have enough to retire at 67. So this calculator is just doing all that math for us. But assuming we continue to invest approximately $5,500 a month, we will actually reach CoastFI in 1.4 years. We'll be almost 28. And at that time, our portfolio should be about $194,000 and we'll have reached CoastFI. And so that means we won't need to contribute to retirement at all anymore. So I really like this graph that kind of just shows this. So like we're here and then we're going to reach this point before we're 28 where we can just coast. That's what this blue line is. So not contribute anything more. Or we could keep contributing and then retire when we're 46. So obviously this is with all of these assumptions, and maybe you disagree with these assumptions and that's fine. This is just kind of a fun goal to keep track of. We're never going to completely stop contributing to retirement. We're always going to put something in. I think that we also don't really want to retire in our 40s. I don't know what we're going to want to do. Like, who knows? But definitely retire sometime in our late 50s, I think would be nice, so that we can, still be in good health when we retire. But yeah, we don't really know what we want to do. We just want to have options and we want to make sure that our financial foundation is strong before wanting to have kids or anything like that. I'm definitely not ready to have kids anytime soon, but this is why it's just such a good time for us to invest while we're making a lot of money, but we don't really have any obligations and we're perfectly happy to rent our 1-bedroom apartment. We don't need anything more. Anyway, now I'm rambling again, but yeah, that's basically it. If you're interested actually in either my investment calculator or my CoastFI calculator, I actually have them on Buy Me a Coffee now. My investment calculator is like 100% free. This was not hard to make, but if you like the look of it, you're free to download it. I think I set the CoastFI calculator to be a small price just because it did take me like a really long time to build this. But yeah, some people were commenting that they liked the way that it looked, so I decided to put it up on Buy Me a Coffee. So you're welcome to check that out. I'll link it in the description if you're interested. But yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're interested in these types of videos, please subscribe. And I'm rambling so much today. I don't even know like what I'm saying anymore. I'm filming this at the end of like a long week, so I'm gonna have to edit this video so much. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, bye.